This book is about the surprising power of small habits. It begins with a personal story. During his sophomore year of high school, the author was struck in the face by a baseball bat. The impact crushed his nose, fractured his skull, shattered his eye sockets, and sent him into a medically induced coma. The recovery was long and painful. When he returned to baseball a year later, he was cut from the varsity team. He spent most of his high school career on the bench. But instead of giving up, he decided to focus on tiny, consistent improvements. He fixed his sleep schedule, he kept his room organized, he improved his study habits, he started lifting weights regularly. None of these changes seemed dramatic at first, but over 4 years, they compounded. He became team captain, earned all-conference honors, and was eventually named the top male athlete at his university. He learned a critical lesson that forms the foundation of this book. Changes that seem small and unimportant at first will compound into remarkable results if you are willing to stick with them for years. The quality of your life often depends on the quality of your habits. With the same habits, you will end up with the same results. But with better habits, anything is possible. Success is not a once-in-a-lifetime transformation. It is the product of daily habits. The first fundamental idea is the power of getting 1% better every day. We often overestimate the importance of one defining moment and underestimate the value of making small improvements on a daily basis. If you can get 1% better each day for 1 year, you will end up 37 times better by the time you are done. Conversely, if you get 1% worse each day for 1 year, you will decline nearly to zero. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. The same way that money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. They seem to make little difference on any given day, and yet the impact they deliver over months and years can be enormous. Progress is rarely linear. Imagine an ice cube sitting in a room at 25 degrees. The temperature rises to 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Nothing happens. Then at 32 degrees, the ice begins to melt. A 1-degree shift, seemingly no different from the increases before it, unlocks a huge change. Breakthrough moments are often the result of many previous actions that build up the potential required to unleash a major change. Habits often appear to make no difference until you cross a critical threshold. In the early and middle stages of any quest, there is often a valley of disappointment. You expect to make progress in a linear fashion, and it is frustrating how ineffective changes can seem during the first days, weeks, and even months. It does not feel like you are going anywhere. But your work is not wasted. It is being stored. All the action happens at 32 degrees. You need to be patient. The second fundamental idea is to forget about goals and focus on systems instead. Goals are about the results you want to achieve. Systems are about the processes that lead to those results. Winners and losers have the same goals. Every Olympian wants to win a gold medal. Every candidate wants to get the job. The goal cannot be what differentiates the winners from the losers. Achieving a goal is only a momentary change. If you clean a messy room but maintain the same sloppy habits that led to the mess, you will soon be looking at a new pile of clutter. Goals restrict your happiness because you are continually putting happiness off until the next milestone.
Goals are also at odds with long-term progress. Many runners work hard for months, but as soon as they cross the finish line, they stop training. The race is no longer there to motivate them. The purpose of setting goals is to win the game. The purpose of building systems is to continue playing the game. True long-term thinking is goalless thinking. It is about the cycle of endless refinement and continuous improvement. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. The third fundamental idea is that your habits shape your identity, and your identity shapes your habits.
There are three layers of behavior change: changing your outcomes, changing your processes, or changing your identity. Most people try to change their habits by focusing on what they want to achieve. This leads to outcome-based habits. The alternative is to build identity-based habits. With this approach, you start by focusing on who you wish to become. Imagine two people resisting a cigarette. The first says, "No thanks, I am trying to quit." This person still believes they are a smoker who is trying to be something else. The second says, "No thanks, I am not a smoker." This signals a shift in identity. Smoking was part of their former life, not their current one. Behavior that is incongruent with the self will not last.
You may want more money, but if your identity is someone who consumes rather than creates, you will continue to be pulled towards spending rather than earning. True behavior change is identity change. You might start a habit because of motivation, but the only reason you will stick with one is that it becomes part of your identity. Your habits are how you embody your identity. When you make your bed each day, you embody the identity of an organized person. When you write each day, you embody the identity of a creative person. When you train each day, you embody the identity of an athletic person. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. No single instance will transform your beliefs, but as the votes build up, so does the evidence of your new identity. Meaningful change does not require radical change.
Small habits can make a meaningful difference by providing evidence of a new identity. How to build better habits in 4 simple steps. A habit is a behavior that has been repeated enough times to become automatic. The process of habit formation can be divided into 4 simple steps: cue, craving, response, and reward. This 4-step pattern is the backbone of every habit. First, there is the cue. The cue triggers your brain to initiate a behavior. It is a bit of information that predicts a reward. Second, there is the craving. Cravings are the motivational force behind every habit. What you crave is not the habit itself, but the change in state it delivers. You do not crave smoking a cigarette. You crave the feeling of relief it provides. Third, there is the response. The response is the actual habit you perform. Whether a response occurs depends on how motivated you are and how much friction is associated with the behavior. Finally, the response delivers a reward.
Rewards serve 2 purposes. They satisfy you, and they teach you which actions are worth remembering in the future. If a behavior is insufficient in any of the 4 stages, it will not become a habit. Eliminate the cue, and your habit will never start. Reduce the craving, and you will not experience enough motivation to act. Make the behavior difficult, and you will not be able to do it. If the reward fails to satisfy your desire, you will have no reason to do it again. These 4 steps can be transformed into a practical framework called the 4 laws of behavior change. To create a good habit, you make it obvious, make it attractive, make it... The first law: make it obvious. The process of behavior change always starts with awareness. Once our habits become automatic, we stop paying attention to what we are doing. To change a habit, you must first become aware of it. A simple exercise is to create a habit scorecard. Write down your daily habits and mark each one as positive, negative, or neutral. This helps you notice what is actually going on without judgment. The best way to start a new habit is to use implementation intentions. An implementation intention is a plan you make beforehand about when and where to act. The format is, I will perform this behavior at this time in this location. Many people try to change their habits without these basic details. They say, I am going to eat healthier, but they never say when and where. An implementation intention sweeps away vague notions and transforms them into a concrete plan of action. Another powerful strategy is habit stacking. Habit stacking ties your new habit to a current habit. The formula is, after I complete my current habit, I will perform my new habit. For example, after I pour my morning coffee,
I will meditate for 1 minute. After I take off my work shoes, I will immediately change into my workout clothes. Once you master this basic structure, you can begin to create larger stacks by chaining small habits together. Environment design is also crucial. People often choose products not because of what they are, but because of where they are. Every habit is initiated by a cue, and we are more likely to notice cues that stand out. If you want to practice guitar more frequently, place your guitar stand in the middle of the living room. If you want to drink more water, fill up water bottles each morning and place them in common locations around the house.
Make the cues of your good habits obvious and visible. Conversely, to break a bad habit, make it invisible. Remove the cues of your bad habits from your environment. If you cannot seem to get any work done, leave your phone in another room. If you are wasting too much time watching television, move the television out of the bedroom. Self-control is a short-term strategy. It is easier to avoid temptation than to resist it. The second law: make it attractive. The second law is to make it attractive. The more attractive an opportunity is, the more likely it is to become habit-forming. Habits are a dopamine-driven feedback loop. Dopamine is released not only when you experience pleasure, but also when you anticipate it. It is the anticipation of a reward that gets us to take action. Temptation bundling is a strategy that makes your habits more attractive. It works by linking an action you want to do with an action you need to do. For example, if you want to watch Netflix, but you need to exercise, only allow yourself to watch Netflix while riding your stationary bike. If you want to check Facebook, but you need to exercise more, do 10 burpees before you check Facebook. You are more likely to find a behavior attractive if you get to do one of your favorite things at the same time. The culture you live in determines which behaviors are attractive to you. We tend to adopt habits that are praised and approved of by our culture because we have a strong desire to fit in and belong to the tribe. We imitate the habits of 3 groups in particular: the close, the many, and the powerful. Join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. If you are surrounded by fit people, you are more likely to consider working out to be a common habit. If you are surrounded by readers, you are more likely to believe it is reasonable to read every day. Surround yourself with people who have the habits you want to have yourself. You can also reframe your habits to highlight their benefits rather than their drawbacks. Many people associate exercise with being a challenging task that drains energy. You can just as easily view it as a way to develop skills and build yourself up. Instead of telling yourself, "I need to go run in the morning," say, "It is time to build endurance and get fast." Reframing your habits to highlight their benefits is a fast and lightweight way to reprogram your mind and make a habit seem more attractive. Create a motivation ritual by doing something you enjoy immediately before a difficult habit. The third law: make it easy. The third law is to make it easy. Human behavior follows the law of least effort. We will naturally gravitate toward the option that requires the least amount of work. Energy is precious, and the brain is wired to conserve it whenever possible. Every action requires a certain amount of energy. The more energy required, the less likely it is to occur. Habits like scrolling on our phones or watching television steal so much of our time because they can be performed almost without effort. They are remarkably convenient. The idea behind make it easy is not to only do easy things. The idea is to make it as easy as possible in the moment to do things that pay off in the long run. Reduce friction. Decrease the number of steps between you and your good habits. If you want to go to the gym, choose a gym that is on your way to work. If you want to cook a healthy breakfast, place the skillet on the stove and set out the cooking spray the night before. Prime your environment to make future actions easier. Put your workout clothes, shoes, gym bag, and water bottle ahead of time. Chop fruits and vegetables on weekends so you have easy access to healthy options during the week. Master the decisive moment. Each day is made up of many moments, but it is really a few habitual choices that determine the path you take.
The moment you decide between ordering takeout or cooking dinner is a decisive moment. The moment you choose between driving your car or riding your bike is a decisive moment. These little choices stack up, each one setting the trajectory for how you spend the next chunk of time. Use the 2-minute rule. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. Read before bed each night becomes read one page. Do 30 minutes of yoga becomes take out my yoga mat. Study for class becomes open my notes. Run 3 miles becomes tie my running shoes. The point is not to do one thing. The point is to master the habit of showing up. A habit must be established before it can be improved. If you cannot learn the basic skill of showing up, you have little hope of mastering the finer details. Do the easy thing on a more consistent basis. Standardize before you optimize. Automate your habits. Invest in technology and one-time purchases that lock in future behavior. Buy a water filter to clean your drinking water. Use smaller plates to reduce caloric intake. Buy blackout curtains. Unsubscribe from emails. Turn off notifications. Set your phone to silent. Enroll in an automatic savings plan. Set up automatic bill pay. Using technology to automate your habits is the most reliable and effective way to guarantee the right behavior. The fourth law: make it satisfying. The fourth law is to make it satisfying. We are more likely to repeat a behavior when the experience is satisfying. Feelings of pleasure are signals that tell the brain, this feels good. Do this again next time. The human brain evolved to prioritize immediate rewards over delayed rewards. The costs of your good habits are in the present. The costs of your bad habits are in the future. What is immediately rewarded is repeated. What is immediately punished is avoided. Use reinforcement. Give yourself an immediate reward when you complete your habit. Open a savings account and label it for something you want. Whenever you pass on a purchase, put the same amount of money in the account. Skip your morning latte? Transfer $5. Pass on another month of streaming services. Move $10 over. It is like creating a loyalty program for yourself. The immediate reward of seeing yourself save money feels a lot better than being deprived. You're making it satisfying to do nothing. Select short-term rewards that reinforce your identity rather than ones that conflict with it. Use a habit tracker. A habit tracker is a simple way to measure whether you did a habit. Get a calendar and cross off each day you stick with your routine. Habit tracking creates a visual cue that can remind you to act. It is inherently motivating because you see the progress you are making and do not want to lose it. It feels satisfying to cross an item off your list. Do not break the chain. Try to keep your habit streak alive. However, never miss twice. If you miss one day, try to get back on track as quickly as possible. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the start of a new habit. The first mistake is never the one that ruins you. It is the spiral of repeated mistakes that follows. Get an accountability partner. Knowing that someone else is watching you can be a powerful motivator. You are less likely to procrastinate or give up because there is an immediate cost. If you do not follow through, perhaps they will see you as untrustworthy or lazy. Create a habit contract. A habit contract is a verbal or written agreement in which you state your commitment to a particular habit and the punishment that will occur if you do not follow through. Find 1 or 2 people to act as your accountability partners and sign off on the contract with you. This makes the costs of violating your promises public and painful. Advanced tactics. Once you have mastered the basics, you can move to advanced tactics to go from being merely good to being truly great. The secret to maximizing your odds of success is to choose the right field of competition. Habits are easier to perform and more satisfying to stick with when they align with your natural inclinations and abilities. Genes do not determine your destiny. They determine your areas of opportunity. Pick the right habit and progress is easy. Pick the wrong habit and life is a struggle. Choose the habit that best suits you, not the one that is most popular. There is a version of every habit that can bring you joy and satisfaction. Find it.
Learning to play a game where the odds are in your favor is critical for maintaining motivation. In the beginning of a new activity, there should be a period of exploration. Try out many possibilities, research a broad range of ideas, and cast a wide net. After this initial period, shift your focus to the best solution you have found, but keep experimenting occasionally. What feels like fun to me, but work to others? What makes me lose track of time? Where do I get greater returns than the average person? What comes naturally to me? Whenever you feel authentic and genuine, you are headed in the right direction. The Goldilocks rule states that humans experience peak motivation when working on tasks that are right on the edge of their current abilities. Not too hard, not too easy, just right. When you are starting a new habit, keep the behavior as easy as possible so you can stick with it even when conditions are not perfect. Once a habit has been established, continue to advance in small ways. These little improvements and new challenges keep you engaged. Working on challenges of just manageable difficulty is crucial for maintaining motivation. The greatest threat to success is not failure, but boredom. As habits become routine, they become less interesting and less satisfying. We get bored. Anyone can work hard when they feel motivated. It is the ability to keep going when work is not exciting that makes the difference. Professionals stick to the schedule. Amateurs let life get in the way. When a habit is truly important to you, you have to be willing to stick to it in any mood. Professionals take action even when the mood is not right. They might not enjoy it, but they find a way to put the reps in. The only way to become excellent is to be endlessly fascinated by doing the same thing over and over. You have to fall in love with boredom. Finally, establish a system for reflection and review. Habits are necessary, but not sufficient for mastery. What you need is a combination of automatic habits and deliberate practice. At some point, you need to make sure you are playing the right game for your skill set. Reflection and review enables the long-term improvement of all habits because it makes you aware of your mistakes and helps you consider possible paths for improvement. Without reflection, you can make excuses, create rationalizations, and lie to yourself. Top performers in all fields engage in various types of reflection and review. Keep a decision journal. Record the major decisions you make, why you made them, and what you expect the outcome to be. Review your choices at the end of each month or year. Perform an annual review and an integrity report. Revisit your core values. Consider whether you have been living in accordance with them. Indicate when you should upgrade your habits and take on new challenges, and when you should dial your efforts back and focus on the fundamentals. Conclusion. There is an ancient Greek parable known as the Sorites paradox. Can one coin make a person rich? If you give a person a pile of 10 coins, you would not claim that he or she is rich. But what if you add another, and another, and another? At some point, you will have to admit that no one can be rich unless one coin can make him or her so. We can say the same about atomic habits. Can one tiny change transform your life? It is unlikely you would say so. But what if you made another, and another, and another? At some point, you will have to admit that your life was transformed by one small change. The holy grail of habit change is not a single 1% improvement, but 1,000 of them. It is a bunch of atomic habits stacking up, each one a fundamental unit of the overall system. Success is not a goal to reach or a finish line to cross. It is a system to improve, an endless process to refine. Whenever you are looking to improve, you can rotate through the four laws of behavior change until you find the next bottleneck. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, make it satisfying. Round and round, always looking for the next way to get 1% better. The secret to getting results that last is to never stop making improvements. It is remarkable what you can build if you just do not stop. Small habits do not add up. They compound. That is the power of atomic habits. Tiny changes,
remarkable results.